24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is UYI Radio. Unlock your inner genius. www.uyiradio.com.
So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for attending today. This is UYI Radio, and my name is Danny.
My name is James.
I'm Marcy. Chloe.
Kingsley.
Salome.
So today what we're going to be talking about is all about education. And when we say education, we're talking about formal education. And we're trying to find out, has education done more harm than good? So this is what we're going to be debating on today. And if you're watching this video, you can leave your comments and let us know what you think.
Well, that formal education to begin with kind of like boxes your mind to a lot of things, You want to write an essay, you want to get something new out of something. Like our dissertation, we're meant to solve a problem, find a solution or whatever. But it's always telling us to revert to theory that's been there since like before we were even born. So education has made us just all think the same way. It's like normal.
Okay, so education is actually, caging our minds. That's what you're saying, and it's not allowing for creativity. Do you agree with that, James?
I agree with her to some extent. Looking at the topic, has education done more harm than good? I would say that I wouldn't agree per se, but I would say that to some extent, education has done us harm. But there is more good to it than the harm side of it. Okay. Referring to like this country, for example, you find that from very young age, students or pupils, they are, I would say they are like ready-made. I would maybe go against the system, because the system has not allowed competition, has not allowed creativity. We are born, there is, what is it called? There is a benefit system whereby even if you don't go higher with your education, there is something out there for you. Whereas, say, look at Africa, how competitive people they want to be doctors, they want to be engineers and things like that. But in this country, we are like ready-made.
Okay, so from what you're saying now, you're talking about the educational system is different within different countries.
Okay. Yes.
And when James talks about country, he's talking about the United Kingdom. Because I think he's wearing the flag of Uganda there.
Yes.
Because that's where James is from. So let's be clear, because the viewers can be from any part of the world. So Kingsley, what do you have to say to that? Or just your contribution to that?
I believe that the education system needs to be, it's a foundation, right? It's a fundamental.
We can speak louder for them.
At any age, and it definitely kind of needs to be kind of exercised now. I don't think there's been that much harm in terms of going back to Moses' point, like in creativity. Yes, that comes with growth, and what I mean. We need the fundamentals in order to kind of express those creativities, in order to develop. So I don't think there's been that much harm to say, but. That's just one point. I'll save my points to later.
Salome?
I think I agree with James in the way that the education is different according to the country, and in a way, it's true that in the UK it's much easier to have an education compared to Africa. So in UK, basically we don't see the chance that we have to be educated. So for me, it's it depends really, but I don't think it's a harm.
Okay. So Chloe?
I think I'll agree with it's a lot easier, and I think it's a lot easier in this country. But I think at the same time, it's all the same, and no two people are the same. So I think that's one of the big flaws with our education system. We're just all sort of pushed through it, like you learn this, you learn that. But that might not be the way someone learns, which I think is a really big problem. And why people are a lot of people don't like school. I didn't like going to school. So I felt like I was just a little robot that just done everything they wanted me to do. And I didn't learn best that way. So from that, I didn't get a good enough education to go straight to college. I had to do other courses first. So in a way, I think it failed me in that sense.
Okay, so at this point, if you have anything to say, please don't forget, leave your comments down below. I do agree with your point in terms of I think it's not personalized enough. I think everybody are put in a box. The way it's been implemented is they put the same people within similar age brackets in one classrooms and expect that they all have similar abilities. So take, for example, they give you a test. I was discussing with a group of people this morning, and they give you a test in a classroom. The teacher brings a topic, and after lecturing for like maybe 2 weeks or thereabout, they test you on that topic. So bring 3 people together, give them a test on the topic. One of them scores 60%, another 70%, another 80%. The 3 of them have passed, and it's assumed that they know that topic very well, and they move on to the next topic. Don't you see that there is, or don't you think that there is, something a bit dangerous in there? Because you've assumed, if I want to analyze those scores, what that means is the person that scored 60%, that person only knows 60% of that topic. There's still 40% of that topic that the person do not know. So that means you've just moved them to the next level. So now, take for example, I'm going to give a silly example because this will drive the point home. Take for example, it's like a pilot. And you buy your plane tickets and you sit in the aircraft. Then the announcement comes in. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for boarding with us today. And let's introduce to you James, your pilot for today. Let me just make you aware that James knows how to fly 60% of how to fly. But he doesn't know 40% of how to land the plane. Enjoy your flight.
That will be
Do
scary.
you understand? So at the end of the day, I think it's very, very important that they master the topic on an individual level before you move them on. So that is one of the points where I think education is doing more harm than good. Like you said, it's not allowing for creativity.
So the thing is, I agree that the example that you gave earlier about the 60, 70 and 80%. But the thing is, everyone is different, as you said, so we can't expect everyone to have the same percentage. It's true that if tomorrow I'm taking my flight and just 60%, I'll be scared. But the fact is, he will have more time to say it himself or whatever. But I don't know how to put that in words, but we have to deal with it in a way that we cannot, if we expect everyone to have 100%, at the end of the day we will have just few 100% and a lot of 60 or 70. So I think that we need to
overtrain them.
Yes, but in a way it's good, definitely, but it's not gonna take longer, but it's gonna be.
I know exactly what you're trying to say. You're talking about the implementation might be, very demanding. There might be time constraints, there might be money involved and all this kind of stuff. But I think at the moment, because there are other options I can give as a solution, but we're not talking about the solution now in terms of how to implement this, but we're talking about the problem or the challenges that we're facing because of just putting people in a box and hindering their creativity. And assuming that everybody is at this level, then you just push them on. it causes a whole lot of confusion and self-doubt, and this is why a lot of people, you graduate from maybe the university and you are in a job and you lack confidence because you doubt yourself. See that 40% of information you did not learn will still haunt you there, because that's where you're supposed to get your confidence from.
But I think that's what we're taught though. And because I think testing is really unfair. A lot of people, their final test, they get good grades. But there's also other people that are not less intelligent and not smart as them, but tests are just not for them. So what about that big group of people that are being tested in the wrong way?
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. That we should move from this whole test approach to a mastery approach. Make them master the topic. And not just put a test there and say this is the pass mark. Once you get anything above this, then you move on. You just assume that is done.
I disagree with that to some extent.
Right.
I feel like tests should definitely be there, because at least it drives you. If we are just left like that, you will tend to relax. And I think there was a lot of confusion some months ago when parents were actually protesting that why are the pupils being given a lot of tests and things like that, homework. But I think it's good to me that it will push them. It allows competition, creativity. It builds up their mind, other than when they are left like that. But going back to the point that has education caused more harm than good, looking at this country, I would see like education in classes, we are being taught about the values, about the importance of only what happens in this country. So we are boxed, we look at other countries outside like they are not important at all, or they don't even exist. Not knowing that most of the countries has been colonized by the British, and they teach about the values of Britain, what they have done, but they don't teach them about the people who actually live in those countries. So I think those has created some harm to some extent.
I disagree with that.
I disagree as well.
I really disagree with that. Just because
Which bit?
that we don't learn
About
Sorry.
other countries.
we don't learn about other countries. I disagree with that, because I was in the secondary school I went to. There was 76 languages spoken, the most in like the whole of London, and we learn about every single culture. Well, not every single culture, but the main cultures we learn about, and we learn literally through history, geography, religious studies, all of them different ones we learn about different. Maybe that was just my school.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
You
Yeah.
think so?
Can I just say
Just-
that just to support that point, before I used to get invitations to go into schools, primary schools here in Ipswich, and talk to children about the African culture. So I think the schools are actually doing a lot, to make sure they are learning. The children are
we
learning
have
about
lots of
different
events
people,
and
different
stuff like that.
I
culture.
think it's maybe in few schools that they're doing that, but
Most likely, maybe.
even in France, we had geography and history, but the only subject that we were talking about Africa was slavery. And if today, right now, I say where I'm from, I say Burkina Faso, they were like, is in Africa? They don't know where is the country. So I think they are not educated about Africa. If they do, it's about the slavery or the whatever, but they don't actually talk about I don't think so. This is what I'm thinking.
I won't argue with that point.
Yeah,
You might be
yeah.
right, because I think there's still room for development in that area.
Exactly.
I think everywhere in the world has
development.
development for that though, because
Yeah.
I think the USA, they're a really good example of where they, a few American people I know, they say that in their schools they just learn about their history, which is what 300 years of history, but they don't expand out. I think they may, from what I've heard people say, like, oh, I didn't know like that, and it's just like basic history that I thought everyone in the world would know. And these people in America, which is a really developed country, and they're not even learning that. So I think that's something that can happen everywhere. We can learn more about
And
all
in this
cultures.
country, I would say that mostly maybe they will talk about the United States. That is what we are brought up to know. But look at even football-wise, yeah? We are not brought up to support other countries. We only know that, oh, we have to support England.
But you have to support your country.
I
Come on.
disagree with that.
But you have to support your
Because there's
country.
television one,
Yeah.
so obviously you're watching a Barcelona match, and it's up to you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's up to you to decide.
of course
what
you're
you want
encouraged to
learn.
support the
Yeah.
country
You
you're
want
living
to-
in.
They
But
can't
that's
teach you to
just-
go support another country against your country.
But we are talking about, this is how education has taught us, you know. It has caged our mind to just think about us.
And then it
If you
depends
get
on
the
the
meaning.
other
completely
person.
disagree with that.
If they want to think about something outside the box, you know, what do we label them as? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I wanted to say, oh, I oppose education, I don't like education, like coming to uni and everything, somebody might be like, oh, she's just dumb. You know what I mean? But I might be legit really, really smart. When I'm doing tests, I might really fail because I'm not good at tests. When I'm writing an essay, I'm good at copy and paste and changing the words. You know, I might pass.
You didn't hear that.
I might pass
The
it.
lecturer on this lecture, you didn't hear that.
We didn't
I'm
hear
joking,
that.
I'm joking. I might pass it, but it just shows everybody has different abilities. It's just like going back again.
Ground zero something.
Going back again to the 60%, 40%. Somebody could get 60% in a test, that's better than somebody that got 40%. Doesn't mean the person that got 60% is better than the 40% person.
Kids,
You
that's
can't
the point.
define a
Because
person by
if you
that.
put them in a workplace and
That's
you're
why I
like,
don't
put this
like
in practice, put this in practice, they might be the dullest person in the workplace. But the person that got 0 would be able to, you know,
Zero.
practicalize.
Zero is
Yeah, 0. The person that failed or dropped out would be able to do it because they might be a skills person. They might be able to understand the environment more than they understand the way a teacher teaches you.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, so thank you. Let's take a break and we'll come back to this topic. Thank you very much, everyone. And as we were talking before, you talked about you knowing how to copy
It's a lie.
And just
I'll show you an
change it.
example.
and just changing the words. And yeah, so another thing I'm thinking is the subjects they teach, you know, in schools, all the subjects they value. There are some subjects that are supposed to help and bring out or show your creativity, but sometimes those subjects are undermined. They're looked at as, you know, this can't really get you a job. What do we think about that? Because I think the whole educational system or public education, I think it was formed based on, you know, what could support industrialization, because there were some subjects that they would definitely need in industry. So those are the subjects that will sell. Which is why if you go around the world today, you get mathematics and languages as the top 2 subjects. But people don't normally look or rate, you know, subjects like fine arts. So if you say you're a university graduate and what did you study? Fine art. Some people just look at you down, like, you know, and these are the kind of mentalities that we need to change, because it's all the kind of putting in boxes that the formal education does.
Are you talking in the sense of like the kind of jobs that are really relevant today, such as, you know, nurses and
All jobs are
construction and
That's the
but they
thing.
don't really.
That's the thing I'm trying to
Yeah.
bring out. You see
Yeah.
the way you've just described it. Jobs that are really relevant.
Mhm.
Now all jobs are relevant.
Mhm.
Are really relevant.
But what
Whether
you-
nursing, whether medical, whether artist. they are all relevant.
But you just kind of said about how they kind of look down to the ones
Yeah,
who are
there is a
specifically-
stereotypical view, or there's a kind of stereotype going on for certain jobs. And I think it's the system. The system makes us value some kind of specialities over, or puts, I'll say, subjects over some other subjects.
Well, I think it's society, not only the system, because the society involves your friends, your parents, and all the people that you don't like. Some people might tell you, "Oh, being a nurse is a really, really good job. You get
Society
paid.
forms the system.
It's a really good job. You get a lot of pay." But they don't know, maybe somebody that's flying a plane gets more pay than a nurse. A nurse barely gets to sleep,
Do you know
and get paid less.
Yeah.
Do you know what it should be? We should be supporting those that have a specialized kind of degree or diploma, whatever the skill. We should be kind of empowering them. That's why I really believe about like societies within an educational institute that really allows students to kind of really express what they've kind of learned through the education system, but in a more practical sense. Just going back to how we discussed about like sometimes a test might not kind of show whether this person is smart or in their class, but come to a practical approach and use to put them in a practical setting, you can really be able to gauge who's actually doing the job well. Another analogy I wanted to say was not everyone can sing. You can teach someone to understand the vocals or the chords and how they should breathe, but you'll never be able to sing, like, for example, I want to learn how to sing like Michael Jackson. Yeah, you can tell me the way he speaks, the way that he sings his tone, but I'll never be able to have an exact replica of how he sings. That's the same way, kind of bringing that to an education system. I can teach you so much, but it won't necessarily.
It's how it's perceived.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Everyone takes it a different way.
There's a strategy that we need to kind of explore more, teaching strategies wise, and able to not make the education system so kind of feel like you're in a box. You know what I mean? That's sort of my contribution.
Adding to that one, I think if you look at the syllabus, like what is taught in classes, and then you go to the job application part of it, some of them, they don't really have any relevance. What you have learned, it doesn't apply at your workplace, or completely different.
That's true.
I think what should be really maybe included should be like teaching people about behavior, about their personal branding, how we should look after ourselves, how we should present ourselves outside there at work or within the community.
Yeah, I think that's so true, because there are some qualities you would need out there to survive in the job market that you might not necessarily get in school. Like you talked about, you gave some examples, and even things like some soft skills that would be applicable when you go out there, but at the end of the day you don't get them here. And also talking about all that, what about the practicality of whatever subject that you're studying in the university? Take for example business students. There are so many business graduates that cannot even they can't even survive in unemployment, not to talk of setting up their own business. And I think this is where the formal educational system is actually failing a whole lot of people, because it doesn't give them everything they need to be able to survive out there. It teaches them just theoretical aspect and leaves out the main practical, which are the things that they are going to face out there. So when you go there, you're expecting to bring all the theory X, theory Y, and all this kind of stuff, but they actually dropped in a whole lot of files and telling you, okay, should we invest or should we not invest? And you go like, oops.
I think you can take that back. Where I think from even primary school age.
Exactly.
You need to learn like basic life skills, like how to write a check and how to cook, how to sew, how to do general things like fill in forms. Because if you don't have parents or carers that support you in that way and don't show you that, how are you going to know? You're going to fail when you come to searching or applying for jobs. You just don't know where to go.
Even as basic as handshake, how to shake properly somebody's hand properly. Why do you have to wait until you finish university and you're applying for a job, preparing for an interview? That's when people say, "Okay, let me show you how to, shake that." It's so rubbish. And do you know what? I also think, that the whole system. Another main problem with the whole formal education is the degrees that we have today has lost its value by so much, Yeah, it's lost its value because in those days, say like 50 years ago, if you come out as a university graduate, my goodness, a job is waiting for you.
Yeah.
In fact, businesses go into schools to recruit, students right there. But now, you have to write, I beg to apply. I was speaking to somebody recently and they were telling me that they've written almost 50 applications under a week. And I thought it was crazy. But I'll tell you this, finish from your, no, I won't put this directly to you because it's very personal. There are some students that will finish from their university. I'll give you an example. I know somebody that got a first class in mathematics. He didn't get a job. He had to go to McDonald's to work. And guess what? He still had to go through training there. So when the whole university degree you got was useless because your degree did not even help you to get a McDonald's job to flip burgers. They still have to train you. Do you understand?
But I hear where you're coming from. I won't say that. I mean, I don't know the person, we don't know the actual full story of that whole training, what it involved.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that training would have involved in terms of their procedures,
Health and
health and safety,
work.
exactly. If that's the training that we talk about. But if we're talking in regards to another type of training of what he already knows, if it was like whatever they graduated in, maths. Okay.
Good. Because what I'm trying to bring out here is the maths degree there.
Yeah,
because they are going to take somebody that did not even go to the university and give them that job. And I bet his manager there did not even go to the university.
I'm sorry, to be honest, he
is in the wrong place.
He definitely
because his degree has lost value. It has no value. That's the point.
No, why did that person apply for?
Because he needs a job
to flip burgers.
He needs a job to pay his bills.
No, he went for the training to go and flip burgers.
He went for because they won't give him a job unless he goes for that training. This is real first class master's student.
That was
First
right.
class.
I would say that was right. All organizations, they have different rules and procedures. You have to follow. You have to go through training.
Yeah.
No matter even if you're a graduate, you're going to the right job. Still, you go and get some training down there.
I disagree because I think there are some jobs because as a university graduate, if you go and apply in a corporate organization, it depends on the department. All they will do is they will do induction to tell you about the company and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we're saying that is
but
training.
when you get to the job you're going to do, they expect they only tell you, okay, have you used this system before or something, and we'll put you on the deep end because we have no time to get somebody to sit with you or whatever. You're a university degree student or graduate, so we expect you've got the capability. Once they do the introduction to you, they leave you. If you run into problems, you got a line manager to report to, and you get on with the job. So it depends on the job.
Would you say that maybe having a degree it's not enough. Like we need to now evolve to get a master's now. Do you see what
I'm not. The truth is, the value of your first degree is dropped a lot because there are so many people with that degree now. So the competition goes higher. Maybe 50 people graduate from the university this year, and they all study business. So that's plus business, 50 new business graduates in the market. So those 50 people competing for similar kind of jobs, as opposed to one person graduating. Do you understand? So the value for one is greater than the value for 50 people fighting for the same, kind of role. So that's the thing. So you got more people going to the university these days, right? And compared to fewer people that actually go up to university level in father's, days and all those kind of stuff. So then if you go to the university and get your first degree, you're seen as, oh my goodness, you got a whole lot compared to us now. So for us to, be appreciated to that extent now, you have to you get your master's degree, and to be honest, it will get to a point which is very soon you have to get a PhD for you to say, you know what, I got, something very solid.
But I think even then, businesses now, the way the market is in any business, they don't have as much time to train people as they did. So when they're looking at applications, they want a degree level student, but they also want them to have experience. How are you going to get that experience when most degree courses, especially for business, there isn't a chance to do a workplace unless you want to do a sandwich course, which is longer. And some people don't have that time to do that.
I think that's another topic we would like to, cover one of these days. If you want us to talk about that topic, please leave your comments down below. And this is just, how employers out there recruit. Do they value people with more experience, over just, university degrees or qualifications? And also, if you're an employer, something you need to be thinking is, if you are after experience and you don't give these people experience, where do you want them to get the experience from? Something you need to think about.
Right.
Well, it goes back to the whole society thing I was talking about. You're talking about your forefathers, how it was valued back in the days. That's what's gone through generations. And it's like you must go to university, you must get a master's to be successful. And it's not true. Because some people, they just can't. One, they might not have the money. They might not have the ability to read. You see, so many disabled persons, they want to go to uni.
But sorry,
what
Messi,
facility is there to teach them?
Messi.
And then they're undervalued. But these disabled people, these people that are less able to do something, they might have what it takes to be a manager, to be a CEO of somewhere. Do you know what I mean? From primary school, we're taught that, okay, if you finish primary school, you go to secondary school. Once you finish secondary school, you have to get that good grade to get A star, A whatever. You have to go to college or university straight up. And then we're in university, and you see people like Mark Zuckerberg, you're seeing what's that guy called, Bill Gates, and all these people. All these people. And they didn't even receive education that we're doing. But they're successful. It's all about you, what you bring to the table. Okay. It's not what about society thinks about you. Okay. You don't have the money to go to uni. Find a skill to do. Okay. You could be better than that person going to uni. You could make something better for yourself. Do you know what I mean? And everybody can be trained to do anything. Because training involves you verbally talking, you asking them to be practical on something, you asking them to write about something. Do you know what I mean? So either way, you're learning something. You know what I'm saying?